Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of 22 Minutes with Jason Bates. That is me. I'm trying to do two things here at once. I'm going to bring you the lender side of things, and he is Mr. Stephen Cotton. He's going to bring us the realtor side of things. There it is. And then together, we hope to not only entertain you, but also bring you valuable content that you can actually use when you're looking to buy, sell, refinance, or invest in property. We do this Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Arizona time. So if you want to check out the live show, just head over to our Facebook page at 22 Mins. While you're there, if you would like it, share with your friends and family. That would be fantastic. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, please share that with your friends and family as well. That would be much appreciated. Okay, so Stefan is fresh off the concert tour.
Yes.
We were talking about that in the pre-show.
Yes.
Fresh off the concert.
Yeah, last night was Depeche Mode. The night before was the Imagine Dragons. And then we watched the Toadies. Yeah.
This is a happening time in Phoenix, I suppose, right? There's always something happening right now.
The weather's nice. I mean, it's an outdoor venue. It was nice. They had wind or fans, like the auction pavilion. You ever been there?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's nice. Nice. Used to be called Blockbuster Stadium or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
In fact, the lady in front of me says that's what we're gonna keep. That's what she keeps calling it. Whenever you go to a concert or whenever you go to like a live show, there's always like a super fan, right? And I don't think I mean most people are probably really big fans anyway to spend that money to go watch a band. But there's always I always feel like a super fan or someone that wants to that knows more about the band than you, or we've seen them this many times. We saw them in Spain.
Yeah,
and then
I know.
they were even a super fan of the stadium. Like, we've been here since it was a Blockbuster, and that's what we're going to keep calling it.
Hashtag groupie. That's what they're called.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word.
Hey.
Never heard of that before.
Hey, we're going to do, we always do a tweet quote of the day, so let's get to that, and then we'll get to some questions that you may have if you're looking to buy or thinking about buying or even selling for that matter. If you want to write your questions below, do as Brian has done here and write your question right below the post, and it will show up here on our Facebook or on the live broadcast. But all right, so let's get to today's tweet quote of the day. There it is. I guess I should have maybe blown this up here a little bit, but it says here, never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass.
Anyway.
Earl Nightingale.
The time will pass anyway.
Or anyway. Yeah, sorry. Yep.
That's right.
Time will pass anyway. So time passes very quickly. Right?
Yes.
Time passes on the show very quickly. I mean, we do it for 22 minutes, but it seems like 30 seconds. So when you're having a good time. But credit is one of those things. We've had the Equifax issues that are out there, right? I don't know of anybody yet that has been affected directly by that Equifax thing. But if you have issues, if you have situations, time will pass. Seems like yesterday that the crash hit, 2008. Here we are almost 10 years later. Right at 9 years, really. I mean, September was really when it kind of crashed 9 years ago.
Okay.
And
I didn't start real estate until after that. So, I started real estate in 2010. When everyone was, and there's still people saying, "I'm never going to do a short sale. I'll never buy a house at a short sale." I was like, oh. Pretty soon, 80% of the market was short sales and foreclosures, and you either started doing them or you got out of the way, I guess.
Yeah. 2010 was a tough time here in Phoenix, no question about it. Tough time for the country, actually. Hey, let's get to Throwback Thursday. This is Throwback Thursday, where we have questions. You throw us a question, we throw back the answer. That's the thought behind it. But we've got some questions here. We'll shoot at one another, and we'll do our best to answer them. Ready?
Let's do it. Yep. Ready.
All right, here we go. You want to ask the question first? You want me to go?
Okay. All right, so here's one. I mean, And I think we can talk about this stuff. Like, what are my monthly payments? Is the question I got. I get that quite a bit. What are my monthly payments? But I thought maybe we can break it down and talk about what the whole monthly payments actually entails. Not specifically what are my monthly payments for this, but what are my monthly payments?
So this is an interesting question because I think a lot of people, given our economic situation, kind of qualify themselves based on the payment, not necessarily the purchase price, right? I say, hey, this is what I can afford. And it's interesting because I've seen, as of recent, this past year, which is a little scary, a little bit, which is why I've always said for the past year, anyway, wages haven't kept up with cost of living, is that a lot of debt to income ratio, a lot of people qualify up to the pretty much the max qualifying debt to income ratio. So you're pushing that limit there. And so what's in the payment is going to be your principal, which is determined by principal reduction of the actual loan itself. Interest, which is when you combine them, PI, principal and interest. And then taxes, Magnum PI, yeah. And then your taxes, property taxes, you have to pay property taxes, unlike rent where you don't have to pay property taxes. And then your insurance, homeowner's insurance. And then depending on the type of loan and how much you put down, you may have to pay mortgage insurance, which is different than homeowner's insurance.
Right. Homeowner's insurance, most of the time if you're renting, you're paying renter's insurance typically. So homeowner's insurance covers the major stuff. I think renter's insurance covers like theft or flooding or something too. But homeowner's insurance will cover it if the pipes burst or something.
Right. Now, one key component, what's really different between renting and owning, is that your mortgage payment, if you include your taxes and insurance and mortgage insurance, which you have to include your mortgage insurance, but if you have PITI, and by the way, Stefan, and it should be said here, I haven't gotten this question too often. I just got it a couple of weeks ago. Do I have to have my taxes and insurance included in my payment? And the answer to that is no, you do not. You have the right as a consumer to pay them on your own behalf, rather than having the mortgage payment company pay it on your behalf. Okay. Now, there's a caveat to that, though. Mortgage companies will charge a little bit extra in the rate. There'll be an extra hit to the premium on the rate for you to pay your own taxes and insurance, and that is because there's an inherited risk by the mortgage company, because if you don't pay your taxes and insurance, the county can put a lien on your property, a tax lien on your property. Therefore, when there's a lien on the property, it could potentially foreclose on the property. So mortgage companies like to know that that's taken care of.
We talked about tax liens on a couple back Thursdays. We talked all about tax liens and how they get in first position over the mortgage. So that's why they like to do that. I think if you have a higher credit score, right, they'll allow it. I don't think if you have a 640, they might not allow it. Maybe.
No, you can have it at any time. At least for me, my company, it doesn't matter. You can pay your own taxes and insurance if you'd like. Just you're not going to get the best interest rate at that point. So that's the caveat to that. There's a risk there, and risk drives the rate. That's kind of how it works. The other thing I want to mention too on mortgage payments are always paid for the time that you live in the property, not the time you're going to live in a property. So it's always paid in arrearage. So when you make your October 1st payment, it actually covers September. So that's the time that you've already lived in there, spent in the property. Unlike rent, where you pay it up front, October 1st pays for October. It's a little backwards when it comes to a mortgage there.
And that's why when we talk about when you purchase a house on, let's say we wrote an offer today, 9/28, and then we closed 35 days. So what is that, November 5th? Mm-hmm. Call it November 5th. Our first mortgage payment is in November. Happy birthday. On November 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spooky.
So on November 5th, we'll be celebrating a birthday. And whatever the hypothetical person will be moving into their house or signing the papers. Their first mortgage payment isn't on your birthday, November 5th. It's not even on December 1st. It's not until January 1st, because you have that whole month.
Right. Now, that scenario is a little different, because typically mortgage companies will give you to the 7th of the month, and they'll give you an interest credit, and then your payment would be due the 1st of the following month. So if you close anytime after the 7th on a month, then you have a 45-day period or whatever Yeah, till your first payment's
Okay.
due. Yeah.
Or
So
you could prepay the insurance. Right? I mean, you still have to prepay the insurance.
yeah, that's part of the closing costs. So you pay that up front to take you through from the time you take possession of the property till the end of the month, and then your first payment covers the month that you lived in the property.
Roger.
So you'll see that on your loan estimate when you get that as a consumer. You'll see that number of days of interest, and that should cover you through the end of that particular month that you're closing. Okay, I got a question for you.
I'm ready.
Do you get asked about your experience? How much would you say experience plays a role when you're meeting somebody to sell their home, or you're representing a buyer, that sort of thing?
I think that's a question everyone should ask. I think everyone should ask that question, not because I have enough experience to answer that question, right? Because I'll look good if you ask me that question. But you should ask that question: how much experience do you have? Or how much experience does your team have? Or because if you are new and you're part of a team that has a lot of experience, it doesn't matter that this is your first transaction, because your team's going to carry you along the way. With the systems that they have in place. But yeah, I get that question probably. If they ask, I usually tell them. I mean, how much? Because it's a question that they should be asking. So to answer the question, like I said, I started in 2010, so this is my seventh year in real estate. 6 years flipping houses. So I started that in 2011, and then I'm in the top 2% this year. I was in the top 2% of the valley last year as well. So that just means that out of if you put 100 realtors in a room, thank you. Yeah, if you put 100 realtors in a room, then there's two or one other agent that did as much experience as I did at that time. So,
Yeah.
and it also says that you have hiccups and you have the things that you have to, we have 3 to 5 probably trials along the way. Sometimes it's credit, sometimes it's getting the mortgage there, sometimes it's the inspection period. But able to navigate through those hiccups, or the hurdles that we have to hiccup, is part of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain things that can come up that experience is going to be your best friend during a transaction. There isn't really, unless it's a cash deal, and even on cash deals can be somewhat problematic. There are situations that come up in a home purchase. I mean, this is where I think we talked a little bit at the beginning of the week about some of these online companies and trying to simplify the process and things like that, where lenders and companies that have been doing it for a long time say, look, we'd love to simplify it. I'd love to simplify it, but the laws and such are that it's almost impossible to simplify it. And if you simplify it, you're really risking your overall business, and you won't survive very long. So this is where experience, I think, is a big part of that equation when asking somebody. And too often, I think people get on Zillow or get on some other kind of website. Maybe they drive by, call a realtor, and say, "Hey, this house is for sale," and they don't ask about the experience of the agent representing them.
Right.
And a lot of them don't even know that you can fire the agent or let them go or move on to another agent, or do other things. They just kind of, okay, cool, you're an agent, I need the house, let's do business. And that can be a problem. Okay. Do you have any other? You got a question for me? You gonna throw one back at me?
Yeah. This is kind of a good question. I think. Is there someone I can talk to whenever I need to, as far as the loan process goes? So? I guess if I'm starting the loan process,
yeah.
Is there someone I can talk to? You laugh maybe because of the whenever I need to. I mean, like at the.
Yeah. No, no. Okay, so yes, this is important. I think and this is something that a lot of loan officers kind of drive home. I work 24/7. I even get told by some agents, hey, your job is 24/7, 365 days a year. Yeah, to an extent. And I got a personal life too. I'm not a robot, right? But if after hours, typically I answer my phone till up to 7, 8 o'clock at night. But on weekends, I'll answer the phone. It's an emotional thing, and I understand how emotional you can get when purchasing a home. And I have a buyer right now, first-time home buyer. He loves this house. There are some roof issues. The seller's fixing the roof, but using really kind of they're not licensed roofers. So that can be problematic for a mortgage company. We want to make sure the work is done right. And I'm walking him through that, and he's calling me after hours about that because he's nervous that may kill the deal, and he really wants this house. So being available is critical. That goes for myself and for Stefan. And the communication between lender and realtor is also critical. And sometimes those conversations need to happen after hours. When you're putting your offer in, a lot of times, Stefan, when do you submit an offer? I mean, it could be 8 o'clock at night when you submit an offer.
Right.
Right.
8 o'clock, whenever this gets signed, yeah.
Yeah, and you want to know from your lender that, hey, the offer I'm submitting, are we going to be okay to get the financing to fulfill this offer? So, yeah, being available is critical. You're not going to get that with a big bank. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's where the personalized service comes into play. And that's worth something, okay? And I'm not embarrassed to say it. Some people will say, well, Jason, this, your interest rate is this, or, listen, there's always somebody better out there. Even if you find the best interest rate, you're going to find somebody better. But what are you sacrificing in return?
Right.
And, this is my job. This is what I do. It's like having a good attorney or a public attorney. You either pay a little bit for the experience or experience of the person, or you pay nothing, and you're not going to get a phone call after hours. You're not going to get that support that you may need, and you may miss close of escrows. I see that all the time.
The ability to close, the guidance along the way. I would say it this way, if you had two, like a physical therapist, right? Let's say one of them was $20 an hour, the other one is $200 an hour, and they did pretty much the same stuff. Who would you go to for like your back or your, like if you really needed the physical therapy? Probably go to the one that is higher in cost, because if in my head that means it's value there. I mean, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to vet them a little bit, of course. You got to know that.
Don't automatically, okay, here's $200. That was stupid.
200. Yeah, you're not going to do that. But this is why we do the show, right? We're putting ourselves out there. We're like, hey, throw us questions. We don't hide behind things. I see a lot of loan officers, they hide behind their inexperience a little bit. They don't put themselves out there. They're not, we're exposing ourselves. We're saying, hey, public, ask us questions, ask us anything. Because we have the experience and the confidence to know that we can answer a lot of the questions that are out there. Maybe not relationship questions, but we can answer mortgage questions and real estate questions. Right?
That's where Ask the Mom comes in, I guess. Part of the pre-show. I had a guy come in last week. I'll tell the story. I'm not going to say his name. That way he's not embarrassed or anything. But he's a lender. And I said, well, how much experience do you have? How long have you been doing this, right?
Yeah.
And he says, well, less than 3 years. Okay, less than 3 years. I go, what does that mean? I go, is it less than 2? He's like, yeah. Okay. Is it less than 1 year? Yeah. Turns out, I think he's like 5 months. I didn't quite get a lockdown, but he had less than 3 years experience. But in his experience, he's found that in his less than 3 years experience, he's found that if he says less than 3 years, people just assume it's not quite 3.
Right.
In reality, it's maybe I don't even know how many loans he's done in those 5 months, right? But it's just ironic that when you ask for experience, don't let. So that's another bit of advice. Like if you ask somebody their experience and say, well, just under 10. Well, what does that mean? Well, 4 years. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. You can look us up too. We're public. So consumer NMLS. If you Google search that, you can look me up and see if I've had complaints against me, which I have not. You can see my experience. You can see my work history. You can see all that. You can file a complaint against me. Probably knock on wood. Why would you do that? Yeah. Same with Stefan. You can go to, what is it, PAR, Phoenix Association of Realtors or whatever, and look Stefan up and his track record and his work history. Yeah.
Clean.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody's done that to me. Maybe, but
Yeah, we probably don't know about it.
Yeah, I probably don't know about it, but experience matters. It really does. And I'll tell you this, me talking to Stefan or other agents and things that I do business with, experience matters. I get asked that from agents. How long have you been in the business, Jason?
Yeah, you don't look that old. How long have you been?
18. Here's one that for the people who are looking to sell their home, competitive right now, right? Especially for if you're asking for high dollar amount. So it's not just put it up and sell it, kind of thing. You've got to have some bells and whistles, right? Well, how do you get asked, or do you think a seller should be asking you, what are the drawbacks of my home?
What are the things that we need to work on? What are the
we make kind of fun of it, right, on Wacky Wednesday and clutter and all that kind of stuff.
We do. If I walk the house, the initial walkthrough, and I notice things that are, too many family photos up, or a cluster of newspapers in the living room.
Yeah.
Or too many cat posters, right? It's happened. We've talked about it, but
yes, it has.
What I like to do after the initial walkthrough, and I talk about the numbers and stuff, I like to say, hey, listen, I have a professional stager.
Yeah.
She'll come in, and I'll pay for the service, but she'll come in and she'll go room by room what needs to happen for the room.
Yeah.
So she'll say, move this here. It kind of opens it up. Take these down here. You need to, and then if there's stuff that needs like handyman stuff, like paint here, she'll let us know that there's things that need to be done. Yeah. And so therefore, it's off my plate, but I hire the people that will do that. So you do get top dollar for your house, and she does address the drawbacks, and that's her one job, is to, hey, make this house sell, or make this house presentable, because we talk about the first interview of a house is typically online these days. Over 90% of the shoppers are online, so I have to get the best photos, I have to get the best view of your house to get people through the door. So the first interview is online. The second interview of the house, or the second walkthrough, if you will, is when they actually walk through the house. They'll look at the pictures and the stuff, and they'll decide whether it's priced right to get to that second interview. And I would say, if I can get them through the door, that's my one job. So.
And if you're going to ask that question, be prepared, have thick skin. I know it's your castle, it's your piece of the American dream. However, we need to make sure it's sellable to everyone. We want to appeal to as many people as possible, and so having a Pepto-Bismol pink wall may not be that attractive.
Oh my goodness! And it matches my bowling ball.
Those pink rooms and blue rooms and all this stuff.
They have we have a house that's under contract right now that had like an extension that wasn't permitted. The house is old already, but the extension is really bad, like really bad. Usually when you do a home inspection, you get a 35-page report, and then you get like maybe a 4-page like to-do list of things that the summary report is what it's called. Like a broken tile or leaky faucet. It's not that much, but this one was 25 pages. So instead of 4 pages, 25 pages of information. Water stain here, there, the thing even, and so. But before we got there, and when we wrote the offer, and it countered us, and so we walked the house again. The seller was actually there when we countered, and she was telling us how perfect the house is. Oh, I see, we're out of time. She was telling us how perfect the house was. We knew, just like looking at it, it wasn't quite perfect. But now we have this 25-page report that's saying either you fix this or give us a price reduction or something.
Yeah.
But she was so like you said, in her eyes, it was a perfect house.
It's a perfect house. You got to be open. Got to be open if you're selling. Yeah. Old. Hey, we're going to wrap it up. If you want to ask us any other questions, be sure to write your comments below in this post. We do check it out. You can head over to our Facebook page and also message us directly just by clicking the message button there on our Facebook page, and that will get to us as well. So thank you all for joining the show. And if you're a first-time watcher and you stayed with us through the entire show, thank you. We really do appreciate that. There are many other videos and entertainment factors that are on Facebook, so we're humbled that you chose us to entertain you for this 22 minutes or half hour. So we appreciate that. All right, everyone, we're going to wrap it up. Tomorrow's going to be Reflection Friday, Feature Friday. I don't know. Do we have a feature property tomorrow, Stefan?
So we're going to go over the Cromford Report, feature some of the stuff that's going on there.
Yeah, we'll go dive into the numbers on the Cromford Report and Phoenix Real Estate. So be here for that. So everyone, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.
All right. Sounds good.